Good afternoon, my sheep. My sheep. Hi, guys. I don't know why my face just lit up. Wow, that's crazy. I just hit play and my face just lit up. I think I'm really happy to communicate to you guys. This is on my mind, so I'm just going to say it. As you could see, my tooth was removed over there. Originally, what had happened was I had a root canal done, and the dentist that did the root canal, he destroyed my tooth, long story short. And after he was done with the process, he did not put a crown on as soon as a crown should have been placed on the tooth. And the tooth just cracked and fell apart. And if it was maybe like the part that you could see, it was a tiny piece left there. So I went to the dentist and they pulled it out from the root. And yeah, that's why that's like that. So I will have to get that fixed soon, meaning an implant. I will have to get an implant, but it's probably going to be a while for that. But I'm going to get an implant eventually in there. So when you guys see me smiling, you see this beautiful smile, right? It's beautiful. So that's going to be fixed soon. Anyways, and I'm probably going to get, what is that? I got lipstick I was eating. Anyways, what is that thing called? Direct smile, to just kind of straighten them up a little bit. But they're so beautiful. I love my teeth. I have such a beautiful smile. Hi, guys. Anyways, I'm so happy to put this word out there because God was just, all day he was placing it on my heart for me to give his word all day today from early this morning. And it started stressing me out because, again, it's like a radio station where if you turn on your favorite radio station in the area that you're in while you're driving, it may not come in as well and it might be staticky. The radio station is there on their end, it sounds clear where they're recording from, but on your end it sounds like this Sunday we will be like that. That's the best impression I could give. Anyways, yeah, so I didn't understand exactly what God was trying to communicate to me, but I understood Texas. Y'all. Wow. God has been prophesying over me like crazy today. That's insane. One of my prayers that I wrote down, I don't know if I can share this with y'all. I don't feel like God is saying don't. Because the Lord, I know for sure he's been telling us to move to Texas. Not now, because he didn't give us a time yet of when to move. But he's been telling us to move to Texas. And you know what? I'm not even going to show you guys the prayer. I just actually have to go mark it, though, and write down that God has answered the prayer. That portion of it. Sorry. You know what? I'll go to it after. Let me focus on y'all. I'm sorry, y'all. So, I don't know. I feel like, why should I hide it? It's beautiful, the promise that the Lord gave me today, but maybe another day. Today, though, we are going to be speaking about don't, excuse my extra lipstick hanging. Don't forget what God has done. I don't know what I'm going to title this message, but you know by now because you're watching the video. Welcome to my channel. My name is Di. My name is Diasia. I love to be called Di. You can call me Diasia because that's my name. So thank you. Welcome to my channel. I'm just so cheesy. God gave me a really cool promise today, and it's just got me. it's just got me. That English was improper. It has me so lit. That's the best way to explain it. Like, I'm so lit. I'm so happy and grateful and thankful for the God that we serve. I'm trying to make sure my shirt is up. I ain't trying to, anyways, gotta keep that covered. So yeah, today the Lord kept speaking to me today. He was reminding me of a message that I gave you guys. It was not that long ago, but it's making me get a headache thinking about it and angry. I couldn't decipher which video it was in, but I kept saying I'm going to do a message one day. And if you remember which one it is, please comment below the title of the video, because I can't remember. But I kept saying I'm going to do a message for you guys, and it's going to be called Don't Forget or something like that. Some of you have forgotten what the Lord has done for you, but I can't remember. But the Lord kept reminding me of that video, and I'm like, God, what are you trying to tell me? He was like, I want you to write a video. I want you to make a video today, create a video for YouTube, and speak about, inform people not to forget what God has done for them. So that was like kind of the start of it. And then he just kept sparking. I'm getting a headache. It's frustrating me because I wasn't hearing him clearly. I knew he was trying to tell me something, but what? I didn't know. Sorry, I have a headache. Ugh. Completely have a headache. Sorry, guys. So, yes. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe. Please subscribe. That means hit the subscribe button. It's either right there or right there. Where is it? If I was watching this, where would it be? It would be right there. Hit the subscribe button right down here. Right there. And then next to it, I want you to make sure you hit the little bell to get the notifications. So when I post the videos, whether I'm singing, or whether I am speaking, you will know. I could be speaking to you, for God's sake. God's sakes. Anyways, I am speaking to you today. So, don't forget what God has done for you. Sometimes God brings us through things or seasons or trials or things of those sorts. And we may forget. We may forget that the time when we needed our bills paid, where we didn't have the money, and we had gotten fired from a job, or we had quit a job, or whatever it may be. One time God had called me. This was, I think, in 2018. I think it was in 2018. I was suffering from, it was in 2018, this job in particular. I was working for a company called IGHL. And I was going through a lot there. I got bit in my finger by one of the people that I took care of, who I was not supposed to be working with, but I did not know because I did not ask questions. Ask questions. If you have a job and you feel like you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing, that's outside of your duty, ask questions. Even if they're not honest with you, but you know for sure that the job description that they gave you upon hiring you does not match that job that they have you doing, don't do it. I'm learning. I did this for years, y'all. Years. On many different jobs. Kept doing jobs that I knew I was not called to do by God, and it was not in my job description. I was kind of being not passive, but allowing people to walk all over me. And I've become so strong that that's never, no more. No mas. Anyways, guys, so don't forget what God has done for you. Okay? Don't forget. I can't forget what he just did today. Anyways, don't forget. Some of us has forgotten. Maybe you have. I have. Sometimes we just forget the time when God brought us through something, like the Israelites. All the miracles, we'll be talking about the Israelites today, and they witnessed all of the miracles that God had performed to deliver them from the hands of Pharaoh. In one part, it says in Exodus that there was a hailstorm that was so powerful that there had never been a hailstorm like that before. But God had did it for the Israelites. The frogs in their kitchens, in their homes, frogs everywhere. The Nile River turning into blood. The rod turning into a snake. The fact that the Pharaoh let them go. I mean, they seen so many miracles, and then they came upon the Red Sea, and they freaked. They freaked out, but they had already seen so many miracles. We have to stop freaking out when we face giants, when we face Red Seas, if you will. We have to stop freaking out. You have to remember how God brought you there. You have to remember what he had already did at that point to get you to the Red Sea. You have to know that he's going to part it, okay? So God will part your Red Sea, okay? If you want to comment below, God will part my Red Sea. Comment below, God will part my Red Sea. Or he's going to do it again, because he will. Comment below, he's going to do it again. All right, guys, let's hop into it. So before we start, I'd like to remind you guys that the Israelites, from what we're going to be reading in today, they were sent into the wilderness by God. They were not supposed to be there for 40 years, but they ended up remaining in the wilderness for 40 years because of... Sorry, I'm writing down something that I should be praying about later. They ended up remaining in the wilderness for 40 years because of their faith. Because of their disbelief, their lack of faith. We'll get to it. So they're in the wilderness right now. This is the beginning, when they were first sent into the wilderness, before they knew they were going to be in there for 40 years, before their lack of faith kicked in, if you will say it like that. So the wilderness. So I Googled for you guys and for myself the definition of a wilderness. I'm talking about a physical wilderness, not a spiritual wilderness. A spiritual wilderness is like a desert when you feel disconnected from God or distant from God. You feel dry. You feel like you haven't been hearing from God. And if you are in that season, I would like to encourage you that God is still with you. He hasn't left you, and he's not being silent because of something you've done. He's not being silent because he left you. Usually when God is silent, he's working, and he's also working in you. And there's many reasons, but you need to pray and ask him why is he silent. He can and will respond. Maybe, I don't know. That was not my message today. Holy Spirit be taking over. So, a wilderness. That was the spiritual wilderness I was speaking about. A physical wilderness is a region of uncultivated and untamed land associated with lack of human habitation and desolation. A spiritual wilderness is desolation also. This is physical though. Habitation, desolation, deserts tend to be hot, dry, and infertile, such as the Sinai Desert. So, or the Judean Desert. So these are the circumstances of the Israelites. So this is the circumstances that the Israelites... These are the circumstances. Sorry, I'm thinking too much. Start again, die. Sorry, guys. Okay. So, these are the circumstances that the Israelites are facing. A region of uncultivated, untamed land associated with the lack of human habitation. So, it's not a place where you would live. A desert. Would you live in a desert? If you would, more power to you, because I wouldn't. Unless God led me to, but I would not live in a desert. I guess Texas is the desert. No, it's not the desert. But would you live in a desert? I wouldn't. So yeah, people typically don't live in a desert. And desolation deserts tend to be hot, dry, meaning water. There's a lack of water, a major lack of water in the desert. It's hot. There's no water. What happens when you are in 87 degrees weather? You get hot, right? What happens? You need water. I don't have my water bottle. You need water. You become dehydrated, right? So they're hot. most likely dehydrated. It's dry land, so there's not much water. Minuscule amount of water. The land is infertile, such as the Sinai desert. Yeah. All right, so let's hop in, y'all. These are the conditions that they are in, so remember that. And God knows the conditions or the circumstances that you are in right now. He knows that it's hot and it's dry and you're tired of waiting. He knows. God knows what you're going through. But you still need to have faith and you still need to trust God. No matter how dry the desert gets, no matter how hot you get, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how long you've been waiting, you need to hang in there. And you need to trust Him. Okay? So let's start. We're starting with Exodus chapter 16. I'm going to start at verse 1. They set out from Elim, and all the congregation of the people of Israel came to the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the second month after they had departed from the land of Egypt. I got so excited because I didn't know that was in there. I mean, I think that's in there, but I'm not sure. But it's in here. Sinai. And the whole congregation of the people of Israel grumbled against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. They complained, y'all. And the people of Israel said to them, Would that we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the meats. This doesn't make sense. I'm sorry. This is the English Standard Version. Let me reread that. Would that we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the meat pots and ate bread to the full, for you have brought us out into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger. Mind you, it's a desert. So they're in a desert and they're saying, what's up? You took us out of Egypt, like, will we have died in Egypt where there was meat pots and bread and we were full? No, we wouldn't have died. But you brought us here in this wilderness where there is no food. It's a wilderness. It's a desert. Did you bring us here to die? They asked. I mean, I want to say they kind of had good reason from a human perspective. Not from God's. This is not God's perspective. This is not. Okay, it's my perspective. They kind of had a good reason to grumble, right? I mean, I think I would grumble if I was in a desert, hot, dry conditions, desolate, lack of human habitation, no food. I mean, child, by lunchtime, if I haven't eaten, I get a headache. I pray. I gotta drink some water at least. You know what I'm saying? So I can't imagine being in a desert, hot and dry and no water around and no food. I mean, you could eat a scorpion, but I think I'd be complaining too. That's my point. So then the Lord said to Moses, Behold, I am about to rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a day's portion every day, that I may test them. It's a test, y'all. I just want to stop right there, because it's a test. What you're going through is a test. The Lord is testing you. He wants to know and see if you will trust Him. I know it's hard. I just went through a miscarriage. I know it's hard sometimes. I know it's hard. The Lord just gave me a promise, and I'm believing Him. But I know it's hard, y'all. God knows it's hard. God knows what you're going through. He knows the struggle that you're putting up with. He knows the fight and the strength that you need to ask Him for it to get through. But it's a test, y'all. It's a test to see if you will trust God. Day's portion shall go out and get people, and the people shall go out and gather a day's portion every day. The bread that fell from heaven, the manna. So you just got to take it one day at a time. God doesn't give it to you all at once. It's an everyday thing. Can any of you add an hour to your life by worrying? That's what Jesus said in Matthew 6. You can't. So why worry about it? Okay? So that I may test them, whether they will walk in my law or not. On the sixth day, when they prepare what they bring in, it will be twice as much as they gather daily, because Sunday, the seventh day comes, you should be resting. That's why. So Moses and Aaron said to all the people of Israel at evening, "You shall know that it was the Lord who brought you out of the land of Egypt." Okay. That is verse 6. At evening you shall know that it was the Lord who brought you out of the land of Egypt. So he's saying, once you guys receive this miracle, this bread from heaven, you shall know that it was the Lord who brought you out of the land of Egypt. If you've forgotten the places that God brought you out of, or you forgot that God brought you out of those places, that in fact you didn't bring yourself out of them, it's time for you to remember what God has done. It's time. And the thing that God is about to do now. Oh no, I'm getting like my husband. I'm eating stuff and not knowing what it is. I thought that was a garlic chip that got stuck. Sorry. To my nail. And it's pollen. It's a pollen. That's okay. That's alright. God is with me. Amen. Alright. So, at evening you shall know that it was the Lord who brought you out of the land of Egypt. Don't forget what God has done for you, what he's brought you out of. And in the morning you shall see the glory of the Lord, because he has heard your grumbling against the Lord. They were complaining against God, not Moses and Aaron, even though they thought they were. So, it's important to remember what God has done for you, so that you can believe that he's able to do it again. You know what I'm saying? You have to look back. Example, I was homeless once. Yes, I was. And my husband now, at the time, he was my boyfriend, and we were homeless together. And we had nowhere to live permanently. I prayed, and I don't think I had prayed like that. It had been at least 2 years or so, maybe more. But I hadn't prayed like that in a long time. And I decided, you know what? I haven't been living right. I've been living for myself, and I've just been driving myself crazy. I've just been driving myself deeper into sin, and sin has been taking over my whole life, and I've gotten nothing good out of it. Let me seek God and see what he can do in this situation, because I remember what he did before for me. So I prayed and I said, God, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, that's not what I said, but I can't remember the prayer word for word. But I just asked him to give us a place to live, because we had nowhere to go. I asked him basically to have mercy and grace upon us. And my client at the time, she said, you all can live with me. This was a client. Until you find a place to live, she said. Rent free. You're going to have to sleep on the floor. I don't have a bed for you. But you can stay here. You can use the kitchen. You can utilize the microwave, the stove, the sink, the water, the shower, the bathroom. Mi casa, su casa. I said, wow. I haven't prayed in a long time. And when I did, God answered my prayer without a problem. I mean, you have to remember what God's done. It's so crazy. It's so crazy thinking back to it. Homeless. Before she allowed us to live with her. Before I knew what was going to happen. Before I knew where I was going to be living. Before I knew anything. After prayer, I had the peace of God, which transcends all understanding. And it guarded my heart and my mind in Christ Jesus. as Philippians 4:6, 7, 8, 9 speaks of. Yeah, so I had the peace of God that transcended my understanding. I understood the circumstances that I was in was hot and dry, if you will. Was desertous, is that a word? I don't know, but it is now. Was wilderness like circumstances. I understood that. That was my understanding. But God's peace surpassed my understanding of my circumstances. I was able to be calm. I was able to not worry in those circumstances, but trust him. I just knew, I believed that he was going to work it out. And then, like I said, lo and behold, eventually my client said, you can live with me, both of you. And then I just kept praying and believing. I had so much thinking about it now. I had so much faith and so much hope that God could do it. And I just kept praying, and I started praying for us to have our own place. And I had never even really imagined being married at that time. But all of a sudden, I started praying that my boyfriend at the time, my now husband, I left my ring in the house. Whoops. I took it off. I was putting stuff away, and it just, whatever. I gotta put that back on because I gotta go out. Anyways, yeah, I was praying that my husband and my boyfriend at the time will get married, and I just started praying prayers that I never really prayed, and began to have faith that I never really had. Began to have hope that I've had, but hope was being restored. I began to see God in a light that I never seen him in. If I'm honest, I had seen him as a judgmental God because I had heard so many fire and brimstone sermons that I didn't see him in a light of love. I didn't see him in the light of a God who sympathized and empathized with me. I didn't see him as a God in the light of one who cared about me, one who wanted my anxiety because he cared about me. 1 Peter 5, 6, 7. 6 and 7. I didn't know him as that God. And I was getting to know him, and it was fast. I mean, he was rushing in. There's a song by Anna Golden and Tasha Cobbs. Maybe I'll put the link below. And it's called Rushing In. You're rushing in. You're rushing in. You're rushing in. You are welcome. Take your seat. You are welcome here. Or something. Take your seat. You're rushing in. You're rushing. You are welcome. You'll see. I'll put the link below and you listen to the song. But she said, Tasha Cobbs says, God, please come in or something. But anyways, God started rushing in. I mean, he started rushing in. Like, it's crazy thinking about it. I could feel it. The peace of God that transcends all understanding. His character, he really started showing me who he is, and that he loved me, and that he never condemned me like the sermons that I heard condemned me. That was not the God he was, he is, and never will be. He's the same today, yesterday, and forever. He's the same loving God from the Bible. He doesn't change. He was very loving and patient and understanding with the Israelites, as we just saw, as we're going to finish reading about in a second. But yeah, God came rushing in, y'all. I started praying to get married, and at that time, we were committing sexual morality, and I had stopped being concerned about what was right in God's eyes. I had stopped being concerned with righteousness. I was really living for myself and pleasing my flesh. I was having sex with my husband and my now husband, boyfriend at the time, and I mean, I was really living for myself, y'all. And God was so patient. God was so patient with me in that waiting period. I'm not saying to have sex before marriage because it's a sin. I did it, and I struggled with it, y'all. But I'm so happy that I prayed and I stayed with God. Stay with God. Don't let him go. I prayed my way through it, y'all. I mean, I really, really prayed my way through it. Yeah. It's crazy thinking back to it. I started praying to get married. I started praying that we would have our own apartment. Or a place to live even that we rented. That our lives would be right with God. That we can get our lives back on track. It's crazy thinking back to those prayers. And God did it. We're married now. We're going on 6 years in as far as the relationship. 1 year in November as far as the marriage. Like 4 years in for him with the Lord. I've known the Lord since 16, personally. Personal relationship with him. Which is super important to have. And he did it, y'all. I mean, just thinking back to that, I'm like, I'm blown away. It's like, he really did that. He really did that. He really did that. Won't he do what he said he would? He really did that. It's crazy. Karen Hawthorne's song. She says, hold on, sorry. I got a burp. It's not coming out. Oh, I got a yawn. Okay, sorry. Whew. In the song, she says, you gonna look back. You gonna look back and be so amazed. How it turned out, it's only his grace. Won't he do it? He said he would. So I trust him at all times. It's a test, y'all. We made it through that hard time. That was a hard time, but I kept my peace. I was still, and I knew he was God. He blessed us with a room to rent. It was just a room, but it meant a lot to us, a whole lot. It was our own little place inside of a house with Lithuanians that my husband actually knew, and his mom knew, I think. But Lithuanian lady, her name was Rita. His mom's name is Rita too. It's so funny. But my husband's Lithuanian, so yeah, it was awesome. It was really awesome. You're rushing in. You're rushing in. I hear the song in my head. But yeah, he rushed in, y'all. I don't know if I need to read anymore after reading that. Verse 7, in the morning you shall see the glory of the Lord, because he has heard you grumbling against the Lord. For what are we that you grumble against us? And Moses said, when the Lord gives you in the evening meat to eat, and in the morning bread to the full, because the Lord has heard your grumbling, that you grumble against him. What are we? Your grumbling is not against us, but against the Lord. So God has heard your prayers. I'm not going to read any further in that chapter. God has heard your prayers. And he understands what you're going through. He understands the temptation that you have to give up. He understands. This side of my hair came out so beautiful. Like, this side did too, but sorry, I'm getting distracted. But this didn't flip as well as it could have, like this side. But that's all right. Anyways, God understands. And he's patient in your complaining. He's patient in your grumbling. He's patient when he's testing you. He's patient with you. He understands that you're nothing but a human. The word actually says that we're like a flower or something. Like a vapor. We just vanish. We're here today and gone tomorrow. He understands that you're just a human. He knows. So pray to him. Talk to him. Tell him that it's hard for you. Tell him that you don't have faith, or you have little faith and you're hanging on. Tell him, ask him to increase your faith, to give you faith as small as a mustard seed. And he will. So yeah, God knows, y'all. Gotta remember what he's done. He delivered the Egyptians. He delivered the Israelites from the Egyptians. As you just saw, bread and meat came down from heaven. So crazy. Let's see what's next. Let's see the next miracle God does. Exodus 17 verse 1. Sorry, this bug is in my face. All the congregation of the people of Israel moved on from the wilderness of Sin. That's the name of the wilderness. By stages, according to the commandment of the Lord, and camped at Rephidim. But there was no water for the people to drink. Therefore the people quarreled with Moses and said, "Give us water to drink." And Moses said to them, "Why do you quarrel with me? Why do you test the Lord?" But the people thirsted there for water. And the people grumbled against Moses and said, "Why did you bring us up out of Egypt? To kill us and our children and our livestock with thirst?" So Moses cried to the Lord, "What shall I do with this people? They are almost ready to stone me." And the Lord said to Moses, "Pass on before the people, taking with you some of the elders of Israel, and take in your hand the staff with which you struck the Nile, and go." See, God just reminded him the staff that he had in his hand, that he struck the Nile River that turned into blood. He told him, "Take that with you and go. Remember the miracle that I performed with the staff in your hand. I can perform another miracle too. I'm able." So verse 6 says, "Behold, I will stand before you there on the rock at Horeb, and you shall strike the rock." He told him the first time to strike the rock. The second time he told Moses to speak to the rock. In Moses' anger, he struck the rock instead of speaking to it, and because of that, he was not able to see the promised land. Just calm down. Don't be so angry. Be obedient and do what the Lord tells you to do, okay? So behold, I will stand before you there on the rock at Horeb, and you shall strike the rock. This time he says strike. And water shall come out of it, and the people will drink. And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel. And he called the name of the place Massah and Meribah, because of the quarreling of the people of Israel, and because they tested the Lord, saying, "Is the Lord among us or not?" Some of you have been testing the Lord, wondering if he's with you or not. And I'm here to tell you, yes, he's with you, and he does hear your prayers. I'm just looking at this lipstick hanging off the side of my mouth and laughing at myself inside. But that was some good food. Ooh, that was good. Anyways, I had strawberries. I had a tangerine. I had it was really good though. I had water. I had these little garlic crisps that I put in my salad, but I wanted to taste it. It was really good. So yeah, I had that. Anyways, so yeah, God did it. God made water come from a rock. Pretty cool. The water came gushing out, y'all, from a rock. So as you guys have already heard, the Israelites seen God do some miracles, right? They've witnessed some powerful miracles already. So let's go to Numbers 11, verse 5. Verse 4, now the rabble that was among them had a strong craving, and the people of Israel was also wept again and said, "Oh, that we had meat to eat. Remember the fish we ate in Egypt that cost nothing, the cucumbers, the melons, the leeks, the onions, and the garlic. But now our strength is dried up, and there is nothing at all but this manna to look at." That's crazy how we can complain against God. I mean, the first time it says that they cried out to the Lord, and their cry arose to heaven. It says in Exodus 1, I think. They were crying out to be delivered from the hands of the Egyptians. I just would think, after seeing the miracles that they have, the Red Sea parting and everything, being delivered from the hands of the Egyptians, seeing the Egyptians, their enemies, drowned in the Red Sea, you would think that that's enough for them to remember to cry out to God. Sometimes we forget to cry out to God. Well, they stopped crying out and they started complaining. So, verse 7, now the manna was like coriander seed, and its appearance like that of bdellium. The people went about and gathered it and ground it in hand mills or beat it in the mortars and boiled it in pots and made cakes of it. And the taste of it was like the taste of cakes baked with oil. When the dew fell upon the camp in the night, the manna fell with it. So, Moses got so tired of their complaining, he said in verse 14, I am not able to carry all this people alone. The burden is too heavy for me. If you will treat me like this, kill me at once if I find favor in your sight, that I may not see my wretchedness. That's funny. They were complaining so much. Moses got tired. He told the Lord to kill him. Alright, so let's go over to Numbers 13. Alright, so before I speak, this is the part when God sends out spies, the Israelites, to go spy out the land of Canaan, the land flowing with milk and honey, the promised land. God has made promises to you, and it's now time for you to believe them. Okay? You have to believe the promises, even if it doesn't look like it. Even if you feel like you just want to give up, you still have to believe him. Trust him. It's a test, y'all. Remember, it's a test. I just recently had a miscarriage. It was the hardest thing ever. The Lord told me I was pregnant before I even knew I was pregnant. Before I even became pregnant, the Lord told me I was pregnant. So when I had the miscarriage, I was like, oh my God, why did you do this to me? But I remember, I even have it written down in my book. I think it's in this book. I have screenshots of it too. God just kept saying 6 months. I even heard a prophetic word by Obi Tempo. I think her name is called Obi Tempo. On YouTube, I even got a prophetic word from her, and she was saying, you are pregnant, and she was right. I was pregnant. But she also said that in 6 months, in September, the Lord is going to do something. Well, today I received the prophetic word twice, 2 different times, same prophetic word, that this time next year I will have a son. So, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. That's 9 months. May. This month is 9 months from September. So, I'm believing, and I'm trying not to let the lies of the enemy come in and trample on it, but I'm really believing God for this. I even had a dream, and I even wrote it down, that I had this dream that my husband and I had a son. And this was after my miscarriage. I had a dream that my husband and I had a son. And I was holding him. He was being a little bad boy in the dream. He was running around in the backyard, and I think I was trying to pick him up. But he was so cute. Yeah. So you got to believe the Lord. Believe him. He'll do it. He has plans for you. Plans to prosper you, not to harm you. Plans to give you hope in the future. He'll do it. Just trust in him. All right. Numbers 13. Verse 25, we're going to start with. Report of the spies. At the end of the 40 days, they returned from spying out the land, and they came to Moses and Aaron and to all the congregation of the people of Israel in the wilderness of Paran at Kadesh. They brought back word to them and to all the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land. And they told them, we came to the land to which you sent us. It flows with milk and honey, and this is its fruits. However, the people who dwell in the land are strong, and the cities are fortified, very large. Some of you guys are facing enemies right now that are very large, and you don't think you'll be able to overcome, but this is God telling you he can do it. He's able to do exceedingly and abundantly, immeasurably, more than you could ask or think, above all that you can ask or imagine. We saw the descendants of Anak there, the Amaleks. Verse 29, the Amalekites dwell in the land, and the Amorites dwell in the hill country, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea and along the Jordan. But Caleb quieted the people before Moses, and said, let us go up at once and occupy it, for we are well able to overcome it. So despite the fact that there was giants, Caleb was saying that we are well able to overcome and conquer the land, because God sent them out on a mission. He had faith. He had faith, and he understood who God was and what God was capable of doing. Then the men who had gone up with him said, "We are not able to go up against these people, for they are stronger than we are." They're not stronger. They're not stronger. God has got you. He's going to help you come through, I promise. So they brought to the people of Israel a bad report of the land that they had spied out, saying, "The land through which we have gone to spy it out, it is a land that devours, its inhabitants, and all the people." Oh, I'm getting sleepy. Sorry, I'm just trying to keep myself from falling asleep all of a sudden. Wow. "The land through which we have gone to spy it out is a land that devours its inhabitants, and all the people that we saw in it are of great height. And there we saw the Nephilim, the sons of Anak, who come from the Nephilim, and we seemed to ourselves like grasshoppers." Somebody saying, "Hey." Well, thank God they did, because I was falling asleep. All right. "And he seemed to us, and we seemed to ourselves like grasshoppers, so we seemed to them." So they talked themselves out of the promise that God had for them, because the land was flowing with milk and honey. The promise looked amazing to them, but they didn't believe it because of their lack of faith. "Walk by faith and not by sight," 2 Corinthians 5:7. They were just like, "No, the promise looks good, but it doesn't look like we'll be able to do that, so we'll pass." Don't pass up an opportunity that God gave you. If God has given you an opportunity, or has given you an opportunity, or is presenting you an opportunity currently, don't pass it up. You know it's from God, so why would you pass it up? Don't pass it up. I had a voice audition that I had scheduled, I think it was last summer, and I had felt so discouraged and so defeated at the time, and I had already auditioned for them twice in person before the pandemic, and it didn't work out as I had planned for it to. It worked out as God has planned for it to, but it didn't work out as I had planned for it to. So I didn't want to go again. So I had the audition for them, but I ended up not going through with the audition. So I've been looking recently for auditions that are to come, so I can go ahead and audition again. But anyways, why did I just speak about that? That was a word from God to me, y'all. Anyways, yeah, so you have to believe God. You have to believe him and trust him. The reason why I originally auditioned for The Voice is because, and I believe this is going to be fulfilled when, I don't know the timing. God knows the timing, so I just trust him. The reason why I initially auditioned for The Voice is because I had a vision. I was outside. I remember like it was yesterday. I think I was brushing my hair. We had this beautiful piece of glass with like this mural or whatever it's called, this painting on it, and it was so beautiful, and they threw it out. I was like, ah! I didn't want them to throw it out. But anyways, and I would stand in front of it, and I would look at myself outside, and I would brush my hair, and I was like, oh, I was brushing my hair, and I was singing, "I need you." This pollen got my throat messed up, so hold on. Excuse this note, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I need you, Lord. I need you, Lord. I was outside and I was singing that song. And as I was singing it, I was so into it too. I seen a vision of myself on The Voice stage. I had on purple, I think. It was like this purple pinkish top. And my hair was curly like it was when I was singing that day. Ooh, beautiful cardinals. And in the vision I had curly, puffy hair. And yeah, I was singing that song on The Voice stage. From that moment, I don't think any coach had turned around as of yet. But yeah, I had just opened up the song. So I said, let me audition. So I auditioned twice for it. I'm going to audition again for it. So yeah, you guys believe God and the promises that he's given you. So let's see. We're going to go over to Numbers 14:22. And we're actually going to get to see the consequences of what happens when you don't believe the promise that God said he will give you. Yeah, pretty sad, but let's see what happened. Let's start with verse 20. Numbers 14, verse 20. Then the Lord said, I have pardoned according to your word, but truly as I live, and as all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord, none of the men who have seen my glory and my signs that I did in Egypt and in the wilderness. He's doing miracles in your wilderness, guys. And yet have put me to the test these 10 times and have not obeyed my voice. See, today I was getting a headache, and the headache went away because I wasn't being obedient. God kept saying, go create the video, go create the video. And I was like, I don't really want to because I don't really... And then I came and I just sat down, literally, and I wrote all of this down as I sat here, and I said, okay, Lord, what do you want me to write? And this is what I wrote all of this down. And I got the word for y'all. So I was obedient. Thank you, Lord. But anyways, not obeyed my voice shall see the land that I swore to give to their forefathers, and none of those who despise me shall see it. But my servant Caleb, because he has a different spirit and has followed me fully, I will bring into the land into which he went, and his descendants shall possess it. Now since the Amalekites and the Canaanites dwell in the valleys, turn tomorrow and set out for the wilderness by the way to the Red Sea. So now they're being, by the way to the Red Sea. Oh wow. Turn tomorrow and set out for the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. Huh, that's interesting. So, yeah. Now they can't go into the promised land because they was disobedient and they tested the Lord, as you heard in that verse. They didn't believe. So God said, you're not going in. But Caleb got to go in because Caleb believed. So let's be Caleb's, guys. Let's have faith like Caleb. Let's believe like Caleb. Let's remember the miracles of the Lord, the million little miracles. We've seen tiny miracles in our lives and major ones. Let's remember that because he did it before, he'll do it again. And because we know what he's done before, we can believe that he will do it again. I have this guy in my neighborhood. As you see him on the bike, you guys probably seen him several times already in my videos since I've been in the car. Today it's not hot, thank God, so I'm recording in my car with the window up, but the pollen from this window that is down is coming in and getting in my eyes. He rides his bike frequently in the neighborhood. As you guys seen him several times in my videos, you probably always noticed him over here in the window. This is how he rides his bike. And I'm serious. You see him? He's like, how are you today? Or he might just say hi, or he might just wave. But he's always smiling. A great example. Doesn't matter if you're in the wilderness. Doesn't matter if it's hot and dry. Doesn't matter if you're in the wilderness right now, physically, spiritually. You still have to trust God, because it's nothing but a test. And if you trust him, just like Caleb, he will bring you into the promised land. That was a good word today. That was really good. Somebody really needed this word. And once again, I did feel like there was one person. Everyone who hears this message needs it, God says. But there's one person in particular that was looking to hear from God about this. Hebrews 13, verse 19. It says, start with verse 8. I did not write down the correct scripture. This is not correct, y'all. What was I trying to write? I hate when I do stuff like this. I mean, I don't hate it, but I do hate it. Well, there's a scripture in Hebrews that says, because of the Israelites' disbelief, they were not able to enter the promised land. Oh my God, my husband just scared the living daylights out of me, pulling up behind me like that, boy. He's probably gonna come over here. Oh gosh. Last time he thought I was recording a video, pretended like I was, and he started dancing and saying hi YouTube. So I hope he doesn't do that today. Please don't embarrass me, honey. Hold on, y'all. Hi, babe. Oh, okay. Love you.
Huh?
I said I love you.
I love you too, man.
Smart man. He's not gonna interrupt me. He said, yes, I'm in a video. Which I don't mind him being on video. I'm hoping one day he will come on the video with me because he's so shy. He doesn't want to come on, but I'm hoping one day that he'll come on and that we'll get to share our testimony together. He's so cute. Oh, I miss him. That little face. Milo! That means I love you in Lithuanian. I don't know if you heard me. He's a distance. I see a little robin. I'm actually not going to tell my husband that God promised that we're going to have a child. I'm going to let God tell him. Because he listens to God. Hold on. I knew it. It's Hebrews 3. Okay, so let's start with Hebrews chapter 3, verse 16. For who were those who heard and yet rebelled? Was it not all those who left Egypt led by Moses? And with whom was he provoked for 40 years? Was it not with those who sinned, whose bodies fell in the wilderness? And to whom did he swear that they would not enter his rest, but to those who were disobedient? So we see that they were unable to enter because of unbelief. I'm going to keep reading. Hebrews 4, chapter 4, verse 1. Therefore, while the promise of entering his rest still stands, let us fear lest any of you should seem to have failed to reach it. For good news came to us just as to them, but the message they heard did not benefit them because they were not united by faith with those who listened. For we who have believed entered that rest, as he has said, as I swore in my wrath, they shall not enter my rest. So the Israelites were kept from the promised land because of their disbelief. Caleb got to go in, and Caleb's descendants got to see it, but the Israelites that got to see the miracle of the Red Sea being parted did not go into the promised land because they did not believe that God could defeat some giants. God, please help us in our unbelief. Please give us faith, Lord. Increase our faith and our belief in you. And please forgive us for our disbelief and our doubts and our fears. Help us not to be fearful, God, because you do not give us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. Fill us with power through your Holy Spirit and give us a sound mind, the peace that transcends all understanding. In Jesus' name, amen. Don't be kept from the promises that God has from you. Don't miss it, sis. Don't miss it, bro. Don't miss it because of doubt and fear. don't. I want to take you over to 1 Corinthians. 2 more scriptures, and then I'm going to let y'all go. Actually, what time is it? Oh, shoot. It's not that time already, is it? Oh, God. I gotta go. I gotta go. I actually really do have to go. What time is it? Alright, I'm gonna read 2 more scriptures, and then I actually really have to go. Alright, okay, well, it's okay. Read, die. Sorry. I really gotta go. Alright, Acts, Romans, Corinthians. So, we're gonna go to 1 Corinthians 10, chapter 10, verse 4. Hold on, Lord. And all drank the same spiritual drink, for they drank from the spiritual rock that followed them. And the rock was Christ. Nevertheless, with most of them, God was not pleased, for they were overthrown in the wilderness. So the rock was Christ that the water came from, is what he's saying. The rock wasn't Christ. The physical rock wasn't Christ, but Christ is our rock. Now let's go over to 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 10. Verse 9. Indeed, we felt that we had received the sentence of death, but that was to make us rely on ourselves. That was to make us rely not on ourselves, but on God who raises the dead. He delivered us from such a deadly peril, and he will deliver us. On him we have set our hope, that he will deliver us again. He will continue to deliver us, and he will deliver us again. Give thanks on behalf of the blessings granted to you through the prayers of many. Okay? So be thankful. Be blessed. I gotta go. I'm going to post this video probably after I get back, which is probably like an hour or so. So we'll probably be watching this around 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon. May 20, I don't know what today is, 23rd, 24th? 24th, what's today's date? May 24th, you'll be seeing this today. But today is Monday. Alright, y'all, thank you for hearing this word. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, all that good stuff. I really actually have to go. Oh, love y'all. I gotta close the video out. Look at me about to leave and the video still on. Alright, love y'all so much. God bless y'all. Be blessed. Thank you for watching. Hit the subscribe button, notification bell, comment. Please comment. I love you. Please, please comment. I want to hear from you. God bless you. Believe that God is able. He will get you through it. No doubting. Stop doubting now. Bye.